What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, everybody. You knew I was going to talk about this situation right here when it comes to Kathleen Kennedy, CNN making this claim that, nah, she's not leaving after all. You know, don't believe the hype. Kathleen is staying right where she's at. This is on thatparkplace.com. CNN claims Kathleen Kennedy is not leaving Lucasfilm while Hollywood trades continue to discuss her departure. Yeah, I think that's the most important part about this whole situation, all right? That the Hollywood trades are still talking about it like it's happening. So CNN, all right, CNN can get out here and say this nonsense all they want to. This is what Liam Riley wrote. The Star Wars chief is staying on at Disney despite a report that she's leaving, at least for now. So they even are hedging their bets. It doesn't sound like they're 1,000% confident, at least for now. All right. And then they go on and quote here, you know, a source familiar with the matter tells CNN that's not the case, emphasizing there's nothing there right now. Any announcement of Kennedy's retirement, if there is anything to announce, will be made public when actual decisions are made, the source tells CNN. Yeah, but see, everybody's talking about it. All right. Like the trades are all discussing it wide open. This ain't on like comicbookmovie.com or some shit. This is on the Hollywood Reporter, all right? The Hollywood Reporter is out here. Yeah, who's going to replace Kathleen Kennedy? They're not having this conversation for the hell of it. They know what's going on. The Hollywood trades, they got people on the know. They got people on the inside. So, yeah, CNN can say whatever they want to say. As a matter of fact, Jonas J. Campbell had posted it up. Now that CNN is saying that Kathleen ain't leaving, I'm pretty sure she's leaving, all right? CNN has, when have they ever gotten it right? You know, when have they ever gotten it right? You also got Forbes right here, all right? Who will run Star Wars after Kathleen Kennedy leaves? There's one real option. And yeah, Paul Tassi goes over it and starts talking about who it is that he thinks should take over at Lucasfilm. But before we get there, I think there's something we actually have to sit down and think about, you know, when it comes to this franchise, because Kathleen Kennedy has been running it into the ground for the last 13 years. And you start wondering, okay, why is it that this great Hollywood producer, quote unquote, great Hollywood producer, Kathleen Kennedy, a lot of people say she's one of the best producers ever in the whole wide world. How come she couldn't get Star Wars moving in the right direction? All right. She says, great big Hollywood producer. Well, maybe this has a little something to do with it. Hollywood loves Star Wars, but George Lucas didn't love Hollywood. All right. This is an article that came out back in 2015, right before The Force Awakens. I think there's something to, before we start picking and choosing who's going to take over at Lucasfilm, you got to understand something about the way that Star Wars was constructed in the first place in order to understand why this didn't work with Kathleen Kennedy. All right. Kathleen Kennedy is a Hollywood producer. And as you can see, George Lucas didn't love Hollywood. Philosophically, there's been differences between the way George Lucas has approached his storytelling and the way Hollywood approaches storytelling. You know? There's some giant disconnects between those two things. And it's always been there between Star Wars and especially mainstream Hollywood blockbuster entertainment. All right. You notice that Hollywood tends to push like market trends, what's like popping right now, what's popular, what's everybody going to check for. That's kind of what Hollywood generally does. They're always like, you know, spectacle over substance, you know, and this kind of like paint by numbers storytelling, just formulaic, all right? Formulaic story. The Marvel formula, right, Kevin Feige? The Marvel formula. They are all about their formulas, step-by-step, paint-by-number storytelling, spectacle over substance, big blockbusters. That's what you think of when you think of a Hollywood blockbuster. You think of something that's just popcorn entertainment. Is that what George Lucas was giving us? Hell no, all right? George Lucas and Star Wars was like steeped in Eastern mythology and philosophies, all right? It was like really mythology. I say this all the time. George Lucas was making mythology.
It was designed to be a film like mythology of this is what we stand for. You're about to enter the real world. You're 12 years old. You're going to go on into the big world. You're moving away from your parents being the center focus. You're probably scared. You don't know what's going to happen. And here's a little idea of some of the things you should pay attention to. You know, friendships, honesty, and trust, and doing the right thing, living on the light side, avoiding the dark side.
It's based on human behavior, human psychology. You know,
mythology, which is the sort of archaeology of human behavior and thinking. And since it has those motifs, it is very universal.
The whole hero's journey storytelling, all right? That's what George Lucas is about. But see, under Disney, like, Star Wars became just like any other blockbuster. Because that's what Kathleen Kennedy knows. She knows how to do that, all right? She knows how to do that. She doesn't know how to think the way George Lucas thinks. That's why you need the heart of a storyteller leading Lucasfilm. All right, you can't just have just some producer or somebody that makes movies. You know, Star Wars is a different beast. George Lucas didn't love Hollywood. Like, for instance, despite the success, talking about Star Wars' initial success, Lucas was angry at the entire Hollywood system, tired of dealing with hostile and indifferent studio executives, lawyers, and agents. So he again defied conventional wisdom, creating a film center first in Northern California's Marin County and then at the Presidio in San Francisco. See, this guy was always going against the grain, all right? Defying conventional wisdom. George Lucas was a maverick filmmaker. He didn't rock with Hollywood like that. He wasn't a Hollywood guy. You know, so yeah, he had to deal with Hollywood, all right, obviously, to get his film out there. But he really wasn't one of them. He was his own man. He was a maverick. He was a different dude. He cited personal reasons in 81 for withdrawing from the Directors Guild and the Writers Guild. So he pulled himself all the way up out of both guilds. He didn't want anything to do with it. And that's the reason why he had to go and hire other writers and directors to direct, you know, The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And then he actually severed his last Hollywood ties, though Lucasfilm remained a signatory to both. Lucas was unhappy with the DGA, which fined him because Irvin Kershner's director credit was at the end of Empire Strikes Back instead of at the beginning of the film as the DGA contract specified. Lucas wanted to thrust the audience immediately into the action, and Kershner was okay with the end credit placement. See, he was doing things that were against the grain, all right, against the DGA. So he says, you know what, I'm out. I'm not even going to be a part of this thing anymore, all right? That's who George Lucas was. He doesn't hang out in LA. He doesn't go to industry events. All right. That's who he is. He's not a Hollywood dude. And then he sells it to Disney. He sells Star Wars to the most Hollywood place he could find, probably because they had the most money. But I mean, that's the problem, is that the heart and soul of Star Wars was in a filmmaker, a maverick creative who was just doing things his own way and didn't give a damn. All right. And he was influenced by multiple things. He wasn't just thinking about the blockbuster, all right? Ooh, we got to get so many butts and seats, and how many people can we pack in? So, again, think about this when you're thinking about who's going to take over for Lucasfilm and who's going to head Star Wars up. You need like a guy like a George Lucas instead of somebody like Kathleen Kennedy, you know, who's just going to do Hollywood stuff. And that because that's what she knows. She's just going to be, hey, standard, conventional blockbuster, all right? Without the heart and soul of George Lucas, without understanding what made Star Wars, you know, dipping into Eastern mythology. Like, how many people really do that? Eastern philosophies. Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey. Like, really understanding all of that stuff. Along with things like the, Akira Kurosawa, King Arthur. There's so many different influences that George Lucas had that put Star Wars together. These people don't understand that stuff. They're doing their own thing, and none of it works, you know? But yeah, let's jump back over to this real quick. Forbes is saying who will run Star Wars after Kathleen Kennedy leaves. There's only one option, or there's one real option. And of course, he's mentioning, like a lot of people are, Kevin Feige, pitched as the best candidate for the job. The idea is that perhaps with his zest for Marvel fading, he could move over to another world. He's passionate about Star Wars and do at least some level of ground up planning from there to mirror his early Marvel days. The problem here is that if he leaves, Marvel is not exactly in a strong place at the moment. So who takes over there? That would be a separate question. But candidates there may be Marvel TV's Brad Winderbaum or the Russo brothers. I don't think Kevin Feige is the guy at all. And I know that he did a great job with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But again, I go right back to the beginning. When you're talking about Star Wars, you're talking about vision. Kevin Feige didn't have a vision. He just adapted several comic storylines. You know, he had a lot of help at the very beginning, a lot of help. Kevin Feige is not the genius everybody thinks he is. You know, everybody thinks Kevin Feige is the guy. He's not. You know, again, he's a good producer. He did a good job, like Kathleen Kennedy. But he's also responsible for the last couple of phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. When all of those other, top guys left, when James Gunn was gone, when he didn't have the Russo brothers making his movies, Favreau was showing up as Happy Hogan, but he wasn't like making the movies. And when you started doing that and you thought that your formula could get the job done, again, he's a Hollywood guy. Oh, we just got to do the blockbuster formula thing. Well, that faded. So now what? Oh, well, I guess I got to bring back Robert Downey Jr. Like, that's your bright idea? Yeah, I don't think he should have anything at all to do with Star Wars. All right? Nothing whatsoever. Now, the other names they give, and this is the one, in my opinion, that they're going to end up going with. I think they're going to end up going with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. I think they're going to do a combination of both. Obviously, they already have, projects going currently. And so if Kathleen Kennedy steps away, who we going to come in and understand what's been going on over here? It's just easy just to replace her with these two guys. But see, there's a lot of reasons why this isn't going to work. Number one, Dave Filoni is just Kathleen Kennedy in jeans and a cowboy hat.
And this is what we've tried to do with the Star Wars saga now. We've tried to create more female characters who can represent so many things, because what we're trying to do isn't just create one type of character. We're trying to create a diverse range of characters, especially female characters that are strong, that are independent. When you look at Rey, on The Force Awakens, she's a female lead in a whole new chapter of the Star Wars saga. We haven't done a movie for 10 years, and here comes a Star Wars film, and here comes Rey. And what is it? Is it Panic in the Streets? Oh my gosh, a female lead in a Star Wars movie. And then the trailer for Rogue One comes out, and it's another female lead. Oh my gosh. How unfair. We've had probably like 2 million straight film cinematic roles where men have been leads, and now we've done 2 in a row that are women. Well, too bad. Oh well. Maybe there are more coming. I don't know.
He is literally everything wrong with Star Wars right now. They talk about Filoni is slowly bringing in elements and characters from his animated Clone Wars series, Clone Wars and Rebel series into shows like The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, and it's been bad. It's all member berries. That's what Dave Filoni is. He's Mr. Memberberry. Remember these characters? Like, that's what he's giving you. He doesn't have actual storytelling chops. He's boring. His shit is boring. The characters might be good. He's not. And what you need is a storyteller like George Lucas. You need a visionary, not somebody that's just copying off the stuff he already did. He really doesn't understand how to tell a story that has some weight and some grit to it. He's just, again, pushing characters out there in live action. And a lot of people like that crap, but you see the results. Star Wars is on the decline. All the ratings are down. They're worse from the last season or the last episode. It's just like down, down, down. So, yeah, Dave Filoni, unfortunately, is not the guy. And then it says teaming with Favreau, they are the only pair managing to get an actual movie out anytime soon, The Mandalorian and Grogu. But again, The Mandalorian and Grogu, I don't think people are interested in this. This ship has sailed. They could have probably did this like 2 or 3 years ago. But after Mando season 3, I think people are checked out. Like, nah, I'm good. Okay? I'm good. And once again, I think Jon Favreau might have a little bit of a vision because he did see The Mandalorian. It's like, okay, I put together this story with The Mandalorian. He had the Rangers of the New Republic. Like, he was building out his little corner of the universe. So if there was one or the other, I would take Jon Favreau in a heartbeat over Dave Filoni, and it ain't even close. Again, he has some sort of a vision to lead the franchise a little bit. But again, it goes right back to the fact that he was working with Kathleen Kennedy with all of this stuff. And I think like anybody that comes under Kathleen Kennedy at this point, you just got to ixnay them, all right? You just got to get them cats up out of there. You can't even think about it. Like when you go through like the leadership tree and you're seeing like all of these people, like a lot of chicks in here too. Lin-Wen Brennan, Carrie Beck, there's old Dave right there. Momita Sengupta, Pippa Anderson, Rob Brebo, Doug Chang. Some people wanted Doug Chang. I think you need a visionary. You need a creative. You need somebody that is thinking outside the box when it comes to the Hollywood system. These guys are Hollywood. They're like Hollywood through and through. Maybe not Doug Chang. He's a guy that came before. He worked with Lucasfilm before. But a lot of these people are just Hollywood cats, all right? Hollywood executives, they've all worked in Hollywood before. They've always had some sort of connection to it. And again, I just don't think that's the way to go. I think you got to get somebody that thinks differently. some independent filmmaker. Again, that's kind of why I look at Jon Favreau. You know, you got to start there. You got to get somebody that came from, you know, a different place in their creative life. And these people right here, again, all of these cats, I don't know if they're nice people, bad people, or whatever, but you just got to fire them all. All right. You got to get rid of these cats because they all came under her tutelage. They're all taking a little bit of Kathleen Kennedy with them, you know, on their day-to-day work. So how are you really going to change anything? Like, seriously, if you go here, like, and I'm starting to change my mind even on John. Like, if you're literally just saying, hey, you know, we're just going to bring in people that worked under Kathleen Kennedy before and they've been working with this thing, then the stink of Kathleen Kennedy is staying on top of these guys. They're not going to get rid of it. It's like gum at the bottom of your shoe, all right? You got to scrape that shit off. You got to get it out of there. So, yeah, I think, you know, with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, it's like, is anything going to be any different if they come in, or is it just going to be more of the same? There is some idea that Filoni might just do it himself, being trained by Lucas directly. Where's the proof of that shit, man? We always hear, oh, he got trained by George Lucas. He was George Lucas' hand-picked successor. No, he wasn't. George Lucas brought him in to help with the Clone Wars. And hey, man, brush up on your Star Wars. And, you know, they might have had some conversations. Where did we ever hear that George Lucas handpicked him and he was being trained and all of that crap? I don't think that. I think this is all like made up bullshit. Having a long pre-Disney history with the series, and perhaps most importantly, being generally well liked by fans who have come down so hard on so many Disney projects the past few years. Yeah, I mean, again, yeah, he's more liked, I think, than not liked by fans, you know, but at the same time, like, look what he's done. All he can do is the member berries bullshit that I don't think that's where you're going to move forward when it comes to creativity in Star Wars. Again, you got to go back to this dude here, okay? You got to go back to this guy. We need this dude, all right? Maverick filmmaker. We need somebody like that. And if you fell under the banner of Kathleen Kennedy, you've been learning her ways, you know, you've been like basically raised up with her philosophy on how films need to be made and what you should be doing with the studio, all of that stuff. You're just going to see more of the same. I don't think it'll matter at all. If you go and get somebody under this tree of people, I don't think it matters after that. Like, it's going to be the same shit. Whether it's Dave Filoni, whether it's Jon Favreau, whether it's a combination of both, I think it's the same old shit. So you got to go outside Lucasfilm. You got to, you know, you got to clean house. I've said this many times. You got to let everybody go. You got to fire the whole staff, everybody over there at Lucasfilm. If you don't want to fire them, here's what you do. Hey, we're not making movies for the next 3 to 5 years. We're not doing anything. Lucasfilm Limited is just chilling. We're not making a thing. That way you don't necessarily fire anybody. You're just closing up shop for 3 years. 3 to 5 years, we're not doing anything. Those other people will fuck off and find something else to do. And then once you start gearing everything back up, all right, well, you're going to need to submit a resume, you know, if you want to come back. We're not just bringing everybody back. Go ahead, submit your resume. Let me, you know, fill out this application, you know, that has a Star Wars questionnaire on it or something like that. Because we need people that love the franchise. And I think that's the main thing. But yeah, nobody under this tree. All right, nobody under this tree can get back in without merit. All right, that's what you got. Bring them back on merit. I think you can bring back Doug Chang. All right, Doug Chang is solid. I think I would bring him back. Outside of that, you know, you really just got to go on a case-by-case basis with all of these people, you know, see who wants to come back. Look at all the chicks, man, bruh. Kathleen Kennedy was going ham, all right? She was going ham on hiring the women. A lot of dudes in here, but yeah, she was going absolutely crazy. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about this situation. I think if you want to replace Kathleen Kennedy, you need to find a creative that has the heart of George Lucas. Otherwise, will it matter at all if you're just going back to the well once again? You got to find somebody like that, somebody that didn't work directly under her and was completely influenced by her philosophy. You need somebody that has the heart and soul of a filmmaker and a creative. That's what you need. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.